Davis, time winding down. Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! She does it!
Fine looking. Here's Clark. She fires! And it goes! She hit it!
She had a defense by the Sparks fans. 6 on the shot clock. Clark, a deep three! And knocks that one down.
From giving us split-second heart attacks to selling out stadiums and bagging a bunch of sexy-ass looking trophies left and right, we can easily say that Caitlin Clark had one of, if not, the best single-year run among any athletes in sports history.
Oh, why can't I giggle? Look at this. Look at this beautiful step back.
And since the good doctor is in a good mood today, we'll be reliving the big moments as well as the unforgettable performances of the GOAT of women's basketball during that magical run. So grab some popcorn, pop that freezing Bud Light, sit back and enjoy this wild ride. Because all I can say is that the 2023 to 2024 run of Caitlin Clark was absolute cinema.
Clark, logo, yes!
Alright guys, we kicked Caitlin's legendary run in the most unlikely location, an event known as the crossover at Kinnick. After CC snatched all major awards and drove up ticket sales the season prior, Hawkeyes coach Lisa Bluder banked on her surging popularity by coming up with an idea to organize a preseason game inside the Kinnick Stadium, which is the home turf of the Hawkeyes football team. With Caitlin's headlining this massive sporting spectacle, a record-breaking 55,000 people strong showed up inside the open air gridiron, and with that crazy amount of eyeballs zeroing in on the greatest women's hooper of this generation, Caitlin treated the fans with a spectacular performance that no one would forget.
There she goes again. Caitlin Clark getting downhill in transition, connected with the body. And with how you shift and move.
Caitlin Clark, knock it off! Caitlin Clark unloads from the end zone!
Against the Paul Blue Demons, Caitlin played the devil as she torched them with a triple-double of 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists.
The first triple-double in Kinnick Stadium history.
Putting up a 34-point triple-dub on a preseason game was just pure savage. But see, when the real thing kicked in, CC just put everyone on notice by destroying every team that stood in her path. I mean, in just the second game of the season, the Iowan Phenom dropped 44 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds versus Virginia Tech.
Clark coming off the screen. Steps away from Amor and knocks it down. Clark behind the back, into the lane, left-handed off glass.
And then, in the following game versus Northern Iowa, she surpassed Megan Gustafson and became Iowa's all-time leading scorer by having another triple-dub, headlined by 24 points, which she complemented with 11 dimes, along 10 boards.
Iowa women's basketball, career scoring, and she does.
Now, exactly 1 week after she slayed the Panthers, CC went for a scoring hunt yet again, and this time around, she racked up 35, 10, and 6 versus Drake, making her the top dog in women's D1 history for the most 30-point game, while eclipsing Kelsey Plum in the process.
Really good, but no hit from McCauley here. And Clark going one-on-one on the cross.
Anyway, with all the basketball and attendance records that she has broken, CC was announced as the co-winner of the Athlete of the Year award by Sporting News together with Angel Reese. And to celebrate that achievement, she dished out 10 assists and had a double-double versus Minnesota to become the all-time assist leader in Big Ten tournament history right before the year ended.
After another, and then off 2-3 dribbles, the pass ahead to still assist.
The one we're showing right here.
The all-time leader in Big Ten history in assists.
2023 was no doubt a year to remember for Caitlin and to keep the momentum flowing. In 2024, CC opened the new year with a bang by dropping a 40-piece versus Michigan State in a game that also ended with a bigger bang.
Get the ball
So, after breaking the hearts of the Spartans, CC continued her scoring rampage on the 31st of January when she racked up 35 points together with 10 assists, and by dropping another 30-piece on this night, she has overtook current teammate Kelsey Mitchell as the all-time scoring leader in Big Ten history.
Becoming the Big Ten Conference all-time leading scorer, knocking down that historic bucket.
Now, after securing the Big Ten scoring record, CC just kept on going, and on the night of February 15th, Caitlin etched her name in the history books by scoring her 3,528th career point with a logo bomb to become the greatest scorer in NCAA Women's Division I history.
Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
And finally, on March 3rd, 2024, the world stopped for a moment when Caitlin stepped foot on the foul line, because she was just 2 points away from being the all-time leading scorer in college history for both men and women.
For the record, she ties it with that one. This for college basketball history.
Now hailed as the scoring queen of college hoops, Caitlin waltzes her way into the big dance full of confidence. I mean, she dropped 32-8 versus West Virginia, 41-12-7 versus Louisiana State in the semifinal before bowing out in the NCAA championship round versus South Carolina, where she tallied 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists on a losing effort.
Clark has the mismatch. Oh, Caitlin Clark. Now you see her, now you don't.
Though she fell short of bringing Iowa a championship, CC took home several individual awards, such as the Naismith College Player of the Year and John R. Wooden Award, and she was also named the best female college athlete at the SP's Awards. With her legendary and decorated college career now in the books, you would think that CC would take a much-deserved rest, or at least slow things down a bit before she makes the jump to the pros. However, that didn't happen because there's no such thing as a day off for the GOAT. And in fact, she even ramped things up in the off-season by allowing people to see her insane training routine, which includes sinking 100 mid-range shots, free throws, and 3-pointers.
I want to be more so around 70 if I can. 81 mid-range is really, really good. Usually around 75 there.
Anyway, right after that, Caitlin went up the podium and shook the WNBA commissioner's hand as the #1 overall pick of the 2024 draft by the Indiana Fever. Coming into the league with a lot of hype and expectations, many viewed Caitlin as the player who would save women's basketball and propel it to new heights. However, some naysayers and haters tried to ground her right away, even before she could even take off.
We're waiting for him. I mean, Camilla's coming, Caitlin's coming. What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
You know, there's levels to this thing.
If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record.
Their words proved to be prophetic at the beginning, because in Caitlin's first game in the W, she committed 10 turnovers in a lopsided loss versus the Connecticut Sun. And as things couldn't get any tougher for CC, the Fever lost 8 of their first 9 games, further validating what her critique said, that she wouldn't have the same success that she had in college in the WNBA. See, other #1 picks would have drowned in a pool of disappointment after a horrendous start like that, especially for someone who carries an entire sport on her shoulders. But see, Caitlin is not just any other rookie. She's a generational talent, a breed of her own. In short, Caitlin Clark is built different. After struggling early in the season, Caitlin bounced back and returned to her old ways. First, she tallied her first ever double-double in the W by recording 11 points, 10 rebounds along with 8 assists versus the Sparks. Then in their rematch 4 days later, CC notched her first 30-point game when she finished with 30 points to go along with 6 assists and 5 rebounds.
Closing in on it. Give and go with Boston. Clark, kick out. Here's Mitchell. You bet.
Now, fast forward to the 23rd of June, Caitlin put Angel Reese and the rest of the Chicago Sky on notice when she set the Fever single-game record for most assists in a game by dishing out 13 dimes while adding 17 points and 6 rebounds.
Clark gets straight up.
And then 2 weeks later, she amped up the ante by becoming the first rookie to ever record a triple-double in NBA history when she tallied 19, 12, and 13 versus the lady from the Big Apple. Anyway, despite averaging solid numbers across the board, the WNBA and Team USA decided to snub Caitlin for the 12-man roster that competed for gold in the 2024 Paris Olympics. CC has encountered another setback, but see, this didn't faze Caitlin at all, not even one bit, and in fact, she even used it as a motivation to dominate the second half of the season. With the way she's destroying the league in the first 26 games, Caitlin was selected to play in the WNBA All-Star Game, and apart from that, she's also received the most number of fan votes among her peers. And when Team WNBA finally squared off against Team USA, Caitlin showed the national team what they would be missing.
Clark thinking about a bomb, the hesitation, the take, the lead, Reese the lay.
Now, after returning from the Olympic break, Caitlin welcomed Diana Taurasi and the rest of the Mercury with a double-double of 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds.
Clark working on Cunningham, gets inside, Clark.
And then 5 days later, versus the Dallas Wings, CC broke through history books yet again, this time by surpassing Courtney Vandersloot to become the player to dish out the most number of assists in a single game with 19.
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist and a chance.
Despite the noise coming from her haters, the Olympic snub, and the blatant bullying that she received night in and night out, Caitlin weathered all of that stuff and led the Fever to win 9 out of their last 14 games and eventually clinch a spot in the playoffs, something that the Fever hadn't done in the last 7 seasons. In Game 1 versus the Connecticut Sun, CC was looking locked and loaded from the onset, but with just 2 minutes have gone in the first quarter, disaster struck.
Clark in pain after she caught that fingertip in the eye or right around it.
Playing with just one eye open, Caitlin struggled throughout the game and was just limited to 11 points thanks to Carrington's eye poke of doom. And as a result, the Fever lost in an embarrassing fashion. Anyway, the second game told a different tale as both teams slugged it out until the last minute. But just like the previous game, an unfortunate incident happened which finally spelled the end of the Fever's remarkable season.
For the lead, short to follow. She kicks it out to Bowman.
Though the Fever folded earlier than expected, Caitlin gave her all in the last game by scoring 25 points while dishing out 9 assists and grabbing 6 rebounds. CC finished the regular season averaging 19.2 points, a league-high 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, and this was more than enough for Caitlin to bag the 2024 Rookie of the Year honors. And to put the icing on the cake on her magical 2023-2024 season run, she was named the Female Athlete of the Year by the Associated Press, and ultimately, Time Magazine also named her as the Athlete of the Year, making her only the second woman athlete and first WNBA player to receive the prestigious honor.